this computer. All right, I'm going to kick us off here. Good
Oh,
afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode number 205. I'm your host, Adam Bell. Joining me as always, my co-host, Peter Nikolaidis. Nikolaidis, let me not blur that all together. He's not Spanish at all. Nikolaidis. How you doing, Peter?
yes, yes. I'm doing great. All things considered, how are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm doing well. It's we're preparing for the winter storm down here in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what a winter storm
Yeah,
for us is?
72 and cloudy.
Yeah, yeah, practically. No, it's
Yeah.
borderline freezing with rain, a little bit of snow mixed in, zero accumulation, and that shuts down the state.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that shuts out. That's the punchline I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we are yeah, yep. So you're getting ready to shut down?
oh yeah, yeah. We've already been to the store, bought out all the milk, beer, and bread. So
Bread and
it's
milk. Yep, yep. Why bread and milk? I don't understand. Why is that the first things people get? Like some of the most perishable products you can find. Let's stock up on that. Like,
yeah.
why? So,
Well, because we've got two
anyway,
days of food in cans for sure.
great. We're good. Well, yeah, so in Boston a few days ago, we did have our first real snowstorm of the
Hmm.
year, and it was really nice. I was like, yeah, it feels like winter. Next day, 57 degrees, rain, washed it all away. It's gone.
Ah, well, that's
Uh,
good.
but I'm coming to you live from, well, to you
Per-
live, dear listener, probably not, from Vermont, where we still have several inches of white, fluffy powder on the ground. So
Yeah.
it's much colder and snowier up here right now,
All that
and it's getting colder.
snow.
Oh yeah, like I'm here for a few days because my dad's out of the house for a while, and I'm just monitoring the place and making sure that the fire stays running because it's primarily wood stove heated here.
Yeah.
And the temperature is supposed to be steadily dropping down over the next, like it's just getting colder and colder. Tonight it's going to be below freezing. It's like tonight, I think it was like in the 30s, tomorrow in the 20s, the next day in the teens, the next
Hmm.
day, the lower teens. And I was like, ugh. So I invested in a bunch of IoT devices.
Hmm.
I bought a couple of, I thought I was buying temperature sensors, but what I ended up buying was water freeze sensors by mistake. But
Yeah.
I decided I'm going to keep them anyway,
Hmm.
and put them under pipes where pipes might be prone to bursting or leaking. Because
Yeah.
about a month or so ago, my dad had like the toilet was leaking, and apparently there was a problem with the pipe behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stick these water sensors around. I also have some genuine smart thermometers coming,
Hmm.
and I also bought three smart Wi-Fi enabled space heaters so that
Yeah.
I can, in a pinch, turn those on. So he's got backup. The backup heat is propane. So my hope is that, if a neighbor happens to be in the neighborhood and can stop by and start a fire in the wood, that's great. But if
Hmm.
not, as a backup, in a pinch, I'll do that. So, and I'm also going to look at, boy, I really hope I don't have to buy a Tesla power wall, but I would like to get some kind of solar power fed battery backup kind of thing. He's
Hmm.
got a generator here, but if I could get something that, just enough power to run the space heaters occasionally, throughout the winter, might not be a bad thing.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Are
So
his
yeah,
uh
that's
are his wood stoves, are they um older or are they high efficiencies?
they're newer wood stoves, but they're not like wood pellet stoves. They're
Hmm.
conventional throw, split wood,
Hmm.
throw in pieces of wood kind of thing. So no, there's no automation. There's no like, blast furnace. There's no like fan, cranking up the heat or anything like that. So it's a very
Hmm.
manual, old school potbelly, well, not potbelly, but old school, four post. wood stove thing. I don't remember the. I don't think it's made of soapstone. He has, I think downstairs he's got a one. There's a company around here, Woodstock Soapstone. They make
Hmm.
stoves. They used to make. I think they used to make wood stoves, and now they've switched mostly. Well, maybe they do both, but now they do like gas and stuff. So he's got like three propane heaters throughout the house, two downstairs and one on the first floor,
Hmm.
and then one main big wood stove out in the main side of things.
Hmm.
But there's an awful lot of exposed pipes. Well, not exposed, but there's like, the water pipes that run around below ground, below those heaters because
Right.
they're down on the like ceiling of the basement floor of the first floor. And so I don't know how well, that's gonna stay, how warm that's gonna stay, but we'll see. So anyway,
Yeah.
there you go. So here I am back once and again, splitting my time from between Vermont and Boston, just like the good old days when we met.
Well, you
So
can.
I will soon have reviews. I'll have reviews of lots of new IoT devices.
Hmm. I didn't know there was a space heat, a smart space heater. So that's good to know because I bought
Yep.
I bought air conditioners for my farm, and they're
Hmm.
supposed to be smart. Well, they are not smart. I can't get them programmed. I mean, I'm an IT guy and I can't get them programmed. And I thought maybe it was a firmware issue, and I thought maybe it was a um, slow internet when I had satellite there because it wants,
Hmm.
like a lot of devices, the first time you connect to it, it kicks off, you communicate to it. Once it realizes that you're going to talk to it, then it'll do an ad hoc wireless between you and it to communicate. Um, and I can communicate to the air conditioner, but I cannot get it to register. So I can't register it in the cloud and I can't get it to go. And I thought there was like, okay, well, what's happening is the ad hoc internet is happening, the ad hoc wireless is happening, and then I lose my network connection. So I thought, okay, I'll take my laptop, I'll plug up the Ethernet so that even if the wireless is tied up between these two devices, I'll still have an internet connection. Nope,
Nope.
nope.
Nope, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna so I bought the Atomi. It's like the word atomic without the C.
Uh-huh.
But I need to. So the one that I have in the bathroom, it's not. It's like it's responding. I can look at it and I can adjust the temperature up. The lowest these temperatures will go is 60 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and it says that it's 67, but it also says that it's on. So real-time review. I'm going to just go and take a look at this one
Okay.
because this is not the smartness that I was promised. I should be able to turn it off. The good news is it's not putting out any heat. That's the good news. The bad news is that it's not responding when I hit the power button,
Huh.
which is kind of the whole point of buying this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm 150 miles away in Boston, I can't have this thing just, not responding. That kind of defeats the whole purpose. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because I have two of these box too. One, so I bought three. One's in the kitchen, one's in the bathroom. Um, I'm fairly certain I configured them identically,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they're behaving differently. So very interesting, and not at all surprised. For Shenzhen province Internet of Things stuff shows up. Oh yeah, of course they're acting completely different. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah. At home, I've like taken big steps to upgrade and get everything Apple HomeKit
Mm-hmm.
compatible, which generally means that the price is higher on all the stuff that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I was just like, I just need something that's going to work, but apparently maybe that's too much to ask too.
I, I don't know. I get disappointed with I I bought a commercial grade dehumidifier for roaming Rome for my lavender farm. And
Mhm.
I bought one that was that is IoT compatible so that I can start it from remote. I can, control it, push the temp or percentage that I want up or down. I can see the
Yep.
results, and those all work. But there are plenty of typos in the, because this was not their first language that they programmed this device. And it
Yep.
disappoints me
Yep.
because this wasn't a cheap device. I didn't
Yep.
go out and look for bargain basement, it's like I want a good one. I want to pay for it. I want it to work. And it does work,
Yep.
but if it ever doesn't work, I have a feeling that I'll have no I'm done. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I swear, ever since my first trip to Thailand, my first trip to was my second trip to Asia, I thought that there might be a market for not translation services, but like secondary filtered translation services.
Yeah.
So, like, you give me the documentation before you send this off to your American audience, give it to me and let me fix all of the typos and slang and stuff. Because,
Hmm.
I can usually understand what they're saying,
Yeah.
but like it's not the best way to put it, or we don't say that or something, like so even though, like, I bought Eufy products, Eufy from Anchor stuff,
Hmm.
clearly not built in this country, and it's just like it wouldn't take much to just clean that up a little bit. So,
Hmm.
but they're trying to save on every penny, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. So.
It doesn't seem like, it would be a one-time cost. So it's not like you're constantly translating.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're constantly generating out new documentation, you are. So,
Hmm. Well, yeah.
so what
Uh,
else? What else is on the docket for today?
oh,
Peter's IoT woes. Besides that,
so do you take pictures with your phone?
I
Do
do.
you store any pictures anywhere, or are they just on your phone? Is that where they live and die? They die in the cloud?
They go to they go to iPhoto, so iCloud. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
iCloud. I think I'm like most people these days. I take photos, they go into iCloud, and I never see them again.
never see them again. Yeah. Yeah, iPhone's gone, but it's now iCloud. You know, I I mean, I take a lot of pictures, but I did a lot more on my digital SLR camera for a long time, and because they were better than anything we could do on our phones. Now our phones, the DSLR is a little bit always going to be a little bit more because it's always going to have a better lens. I mean, it's a difference between a $1,500 lens and whatever Apple or Samsung or whatever putting. They're not putting a $1,500 lens in their $1,300 phone. you know. So anyway, I used to do Picasa. You remember Google's Picasa
I
product?
do.
So
I
you
do.
have your files downloaded and it stored them, indexed them, you could find them. And one of my favorite things it would do is, so like when I went on a trip, I'd go through and I'd star all the good ones because I took, I may have gone to a beach and I took 5 pictures of the beach trying to get one good picture. And then I go through
Hmm.
and I want to star the best of them. And then I want to do an auto adjustment, and you build out your filters to what an auto adjustment means to you. But I go into that, I hit auto adjust, it brightens, enhances the color
Hmm.
slightly, and so it was
Hmm.
really nice I could do that. Well, Picasso went away. It went to Google Cloud Cloud Google Photos. And the only way you can do that
Yep.
is in the cloud. So you've got to upload all your pictures into the cloud to be able to modify them to turn around and download them back. So I was
Yep.
wondering if you had any, well, and I have Adobe Lightroom, and Adobe Lightroom will do everything Picasso used to do in a much harder way. Where before I just hit a button, say auto levels, hit a button, it'd go bloop, bloop. Yeah, and then if I want to do that with a Lightroom, then I've got it's hard. You know,
It's hard.
yeah. You got to be
Uh,
intentional with all your pictures. You can't just go in there and do quick fix and move on. Um,
well, yeah, I mean, the problem is you realize, of course, the problem is caused by you using a professional grade tool for an amateur product or an amateur project.
yeah. Yeah, because I just want to do an amateur. Yeah, I want the professional tool when I really want to dig in there, when I really want to make a nice
Hmm.
picture. But for the most
Yep.
part, a 4 by 6 picture is not real high quality.
Yeah. In general, not. No, I use iCloud. I take stuff in, and my use case in general is, I'm heavily using the recent photos, like
Hmm.
looking for something I just took a picture of recently or something like that. Um, but and then, like, where was I? Like, I was searching for photos of my first trip to New Orleans, for
Hmm.
instance. But apparently, I wasn't using iPhotos back then or iCloud then because I couldn't find any of them.
Yeah.
So, but I'll look in, like, I'll sort by location. I have been looking for, the faces ones. It's pretty good, doing facial recognition
Hmm.
nowadays, um, finding things. So, but I will say too, as far as photos goes, is an interesting thing, something my girlfriend inadvertently contributed to the podcast without knowing it. She asked me the other day, can you make me an AI headshot?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't think I have the tools because I have Chat GPT Plus subscription, which expires today, actually. And that includes DALL-E now. So I could make a new photo, but I can't really, like, I can't doctor this photo with it.
Yeah.
So she went on to another website, I forget which. I think she paid like $30 for an intro thing, gave it a few photos of herself, and it came back with some impressive results.
Really.
Yes. So I was just like, that is pretty slick. Um, so yeah, I was looking at those. I was like, huh, I kind of wish I had just given it one of those when I needed my headshot for my new role. It's just like I was like, that would have saved me a lot of time, over the whole, trying to, like, get the light ready and everything. So she just took some decent photos, uploaded them, and it came back with some pretty good ones. I'll show you later.
I'll
So
have
I was
to.
like, that's pretty slick.
I've seen some. So on Instagram, they throw in commercials in there, and I've seen some of those. And yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing those. And then I've also seen. There's one make me look or show your 16-year-old self, and some of those are pretty fun.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The stuff that you can do that you can play with those are pretty impressive. So yeah, but I mean, if you look at the photos that she put, like, they're very clearly her. There are some aspects where, like, sometimes they got the teeth a little wrong,
Hmm.
or the eyes. You can look a couple of them, you can see the eyes are just a little bit off.
Hmm.
But in general, at a glance, even a close look, you're like, you're looking at the same person.
Hmm.
But it's amazing the range of hair that they put on it,
Hmm.
and like the different outfits and stuff. They're just like, oh, here we go, and it's like, wow, there's so she just punched that in, and she gets like 30 headshots back. It's just like that. And I was like, that's pretty slick.
That is impressive.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, all right, that's interesting. So I might do. I got as far as making an account to find out. I'm like, okay, where does this do it? And it's like, yep, $29 to sign up. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a. I'll wait until I have a few more, just a couple more pictures of myself to send in. But yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, that's pretty slick. That's a great use of AI.
I can't grow a beard, so maybe I can get a picture of me with a nice beard. I like a nice beard.
There you go. I think you've got a nice goatee. I mean, don't sell yourself short.
Well,
So,
it's right here is fine. You're like you look at it, you're like, oh, well, yeah, that'll be a potentially
yeah.
nice goatee when you grow it all out. When I grow it out, it's wispy.
My hair has always been very fine.
Hmm.
And I just shaved just yesterday, actually. I had, like the full beard thing going on, but it's always fine. It's like, oh, you're heading to Vermont. That's why you got the beard, right? Like, no, this is not thick enough to give me any sort of insulation.
Yeah.
It's merely for decoration.
Well, it's funny. I mean, you're Greek and German, but your hair is more like you're Asian, like your facial
Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. There you go. It always Fu Manchu kind of
hair.
thing. So,
Yeah.
oh man.
Mine's more like a bad Mennonite do. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh man.
So let's see.
All right. So
So you had
what else? What else we got?
one of our carryovers we didn't talk about was supplemental health insurance.
Supplemental health insurance. That is true. Now, the reason I want to talk about this was not because like, hey, if you're older and stuff like that, you should have supplemental health insurance. Like just like if you just like you should have an umbrella policy to cover your homeowners
Hmm.
policy, you should have supplemental health insurance to cover your Medicare or whatnot. My parents do, and it's very good that they do because the 500 or so dollars a month he's paying is a bargain compared to, the stuff that my father's been getting.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought this up is I was on the phone with my dad, and so he gets his supplemental health insurance through I think United Healthcare through
Hmm.
AARP essentially, right? That's if you're going to be an AARP member, that's the reason to be a member, right? Because you get
Hmm.
semi-affordable. Affordable is a loose word, but affordable health insurance. So you get supplemental health insurance, and um, we wanted to cancel the policy for my mom because my mom is on Medicaid. So she's got full boat, Medicaid, long term, everything is covered, right? So there's no sense for my dad to spend, my mom and dad together to spend 500 some odd bucks a month on something they don't need anymore, right? They
Right.
don't need it. Medicare, you need it. Medicaid, you don't need it. So we called United Healthcare and we had this discussion with the person on the other line. And he said, yep, you're going to need to send some documentation. You need to call this number. It's a different number. You need to send some documentation and then we'll cancel the policy. And I tried to help my dad with it, but I ran out of time. I was like, look, just dad, call this number and tell them that you want to cancel, and he was like, well, I just want to make sure they cancel it for my mom and, for your mom and not you. I'm like, or not me. I was like, yes, I get that. Just call
Hmm.
this number, tell them to cancel the policy for mom's name, not your name. Okay, fine. He calls me back saying they want me to send the power of attorney and guardianship paper documents that I have for my mom to them. And I was like, how did I get involved in this?
Yeah.
You should be able to just say, stop this bill, right? And I was like, so, my dad's getting on in years. He gets confused easily. So I can just imagine a myriad of wrong turns this conversation could have taken.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we're going to try it one more time. So I get on the phone with them. Now, keep in mind, the first one was you need to call this other number and you need to send some documentation to cancel the coverage. The second one is now I need to get involved and I need to send guardianship papers and whatnot. Third time we call, they're like, I'm like, hi, my name is Peter. I'm on with my father here. I introduce him. I'm like, okay, dad, so we want to cancel it. And she's like, yeah, so Mr. Nikolaidis, you want to, I agree you're going to cancel it for, insert mom's name here. I'm like, yes. Okay, sir, I've gone ahead and processed that. It's canceled. That's it. Same phone number, same procedure, same questions, different results.
Yeah.
So it just says, like sometimes you never know. Sometimes persistence can pay off. It's like I remember this was something I used to do back in the day. I don't remember which vendor it was specifically, but I think it might have been an insurance vendor, like AMS software or something, and I would call for tech support on this matter. And I was not, if I wasn't getting anywhere, I was like, okay, sorry, thank you, I have to go. Hang up, call back, get a different person, totally different results. So, it's something to think about. If you're not making progress, it could be the individual on the other line. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's worth just trying again. So,
Well, yeah.
there you go.
Well, I had um, a box store that had a credit card, and I'm helping my in-laws with their finances and making sure their bills are getting paid. And I called this store and I said, I need to know the payoff amount. I know where to send a check. I need to know the payoff amount. I said, you're going to need to give us the account number. And I said, I don't have the account number. I have the person. I have their social security. I have all of their vital information, but I do not have the account number. Well, sir, we can't give
Hmm.
you the payoff amount. And I said, I know you're protecting from fraud. I understand this. I'm also protecting from fraud. But by me knowing the amount, without all this, I can't pay you off if I don't know how much to pay you. So that means I'm not going to pay you anything. And I
Hmm.
understand. And I know with a bank, you can call a bank and say, well, my last deposit for authorization, my last
Yep.
deposit was for
Yep.
$112.14. And that is a form of
Yep.
authorization. But you can't do that with a credit card. I mean, you can't do
Nope.
you can't I can't get any further. I don't want to change anything. Just give me a dollar amount so that I can pay it off. No, we can't
Uh-huh.
do that.
Nope. Oh, brother. Yep. No, I know the feeling. It's just, and that's the thing is like, that's probably a process date,
Hmm.
but it could also be a person on the other side just doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like I was told one time I was in a bank, my local bank that I don't do much business with anymore because of things like this. Um, and I was told that there is no expiration on a check. So if someone writes a check, oh, no expiration on when you can stop payment on a
Yes.
check.
Yes.
So I said, so wait, so you're telling me like I have the money and I could come back, I can write a check and I can come back, say 5 years later and stop payment on this? That doesn't seem right. So, but I was like, so wait, so like what's and I forget what I asked a specific question, and she was like, well, no one knows. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure someone knows. Maybe you don't know, but someone knows when there's a hard cutoff for when you can and cannot stop payment on a check.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
anyway, just a random story.
yeah, well, there is kind of a workaround on that is if you put the verbiage on your check that it's void after 180
Yes,
days or
after
90
so many
days.
days.
But like
Yep.
just like what you said, if a check gets lost, it never arrives, you say, do not, void this check. Like you
Yep.
said, they're like, well, that check is still good. The block is only good for like 90 days, but the check is still good forever. Well,
Yep.
no, it needs to be bad forever. When I declare it as bad, it
Yeah.
needs to be bad forever.
Yes. Oh, and that was the thing too. Actually, I think maybe you're right. I think maybe it wasn't that I was trying to stop payment. It was that no, yeah, I stopped payment on a check, but they're like, okay, but they can come back and bring it back like after 8 months or something like that. So it's like that doesn't that doesn't sound right. I
Hmm.
don't know, man. That's tricky. So,
Well, and here's another, since we're talking about fraud here, so
mhm.
let's say that you were an employee of Walmart. All right. So you get a paycheck from Walmart. you get a routing number, you get a checking account number. Well, if you go into some sort of ACH processing, you can put that in there. Like you can put that information in
Mm-hmm.
there. You could guess that it's a checking account. If you could do a little bit of social engineering, you could find out where their bank is, put the address in, their phone number, and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and you could process an ACH. As long as you don't
Yes.
do anything that raises a red flag that they block you, you could still pull
Yep.
ACH for a
Yep.
long time.
Yep. That's yes, sir, you can. So that's interesting. I mean, that's one of the reasons. Like, I mean, it's common nowadays, like to give out your bank account number, and I'm like, I'm a little hesitant, but I do it. But
Hmm.
lately, I've just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, one of my vendors that I used to use that you probably still use, they like every email that goes out, their ACH info, because they're in the payables department, their
Hmm.
ACH info is at the bottom of the email. Like every email, like here's our ACH, and here's the Swift code, here's the routing number, and I was
Hmm.
just like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, it seems like a little bit of a security issue, but there you go.
Well, I guess though, so I've had issues with my clearing company. So my company takes checks ACH. And
Hmm.
if so, some of my clients have a check balance, or not like a check, but a checks and balances process where I
Right.
send them an invoice, let's say it's for $1,000, and then they have to go into their banking system and add the invoice and approve the invoice to get paid via ACH. If they don't do that, then the ACH will automatically be rejected because they didn't authorize it to prevent this from happening. But here's the problem. If my client rejects an ACH that I use to process, my clearing company takes that very seriously. And they will
Hmm.
never, ever process another ACH transaction from that client through my portal unless they get a letter from their bank stating that I'm allowed to process payments through them.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate the fraud steps to protect their account. And I mean, I guess to a degree, they're protecting me.
Yep.
But it's a great big pain in the rear when when one of those
Yeah.
things happens. And I tell my clients, I'm like,
Yep.
sorry. I mean, I know that you didn't mean to forget this, but this is on you. You've got to fix this.
Yep. That's it. So, oh man, I tell you, again, that's the thing is like there's so many processes that get screwed up when organizations get large, you know,
Hmm.
and it's very interesting, like working when I had my MSP and you've got your MSP and you're relatively small, right?
Hmm.
But there really is a lot to be said for nimble agility transactions, agile transactions, and just being able to get work done real fast,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, oh yeah, you're going to have to go through 3 levels of authorization before you can transfer this or undo that or uncheck
Hmm.
that. And like, okay, great. So, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, what else we got?
Complex society. Let's see here. I do have a question for you on the supplemental health insurance. What, because I'm taking over finances for my in-laws, and
Hmm.
supposedly they have AFLAC, not AFLAC, AARP, and I've paid AARP, but do they send you bills? Do they send you bills? Does Medicare send you bills? Where do these come from? Because we're not getting them.
So here's the thing, and this is where again I needed to verify because my father insisted that he has to call AARP every month or United Healthcare to pay the bill. They don't. They send him the bill, But I did just find out by looking at my dad's email that it's possible to pay online and to also set up recurring payments.
Ah.
You can just give him a credit card and it just goes away. He had been resisting doing that. He insisted, nope, I have to call. There's no way to do it. And so I was like, well, let me call with you. We call, and while we're on hold, it's like, did you know you can pay your bill online? It's, so but we couldn't find it. The website that they gave on there was not working. Ooh, giant thing of snow just fell off the roof here. Um, so the website URL and the voicemail was not working. So the person on the phone was able to walk us through a one-time payment portal. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, at least I could save his, the specific information into one password so he can just go to this website and submit payment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that one time, and then they sent an email, and the email was just like, you can automate these payments, just set up recurring monthly payments. So now that I have my father's Amex card in my hand, I'm going to do that for him.
Yeah.
So,
I don't, I don't know why, but I have not put my utilities on auto pay because my utilities, I didn't want to put my ACH information into their portal. I wanted to
mhm,
always send from my portal just so they were all
yes,
in one place. I didn't have to keep track of
yes,
that. So,
yep,
on more than one occasion throughout the last 15, 20 years, I've missed the email for one reason or another. It's never been a big deal.
mhm,
Like my gas bill in the summertime is like $22. But then I get my next email says, all right, well, the cutoff date for your gas is, 15th of this month.
yep,
What? What? Why?
yep, yep,
And
yep,
I was like, why am I doing this? Put the stupid ACH information in there and don't think about these. Yeah.
yep. That's just it, and it's like, so I'm trying to channel Adam a little bit. I have been buying the Audible Unlimited for the last, couple of months.
Hmm.
I'm still on the 3 month trial where I paid like $5 a month and then it goes to 15. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's all right. The thing is though, is like, I'll spend a few bucks here and there, but I want to get something for it.
Hmm.
Because I was looking, we were having this discussion, someone else talking about like cable, TV and stuff. Like right now in my household, we have Disney, Netflix, HBO, Apple, and Amazon.
Yeah.
Right now, one of those is included with my cell phone, so I don't have to pay for it, which is nice. And the other, Amazon Prime, because of shipping, it's kind of included. But still, that it's easy. And if you count, oh, YouTube, sorry, YouTube Premium, not YouTube TV, but YouTube Premium,
Hmm.
and now an Audible subscription and a Blinkist subscription, and I pay for a bunch of podcasts. That starts to add up,
Hmm.
and then sometimes I don't remember if I did this year or not. I'll donate to NPR or the local NPR affiliate.
Hmm.
So, it's very quickly doing it, but I still feel like I have a better range, a better selection of things available to me doing it this way than say paying 100 to 200 to $400 a month to like Dish Network or DirecTV or Comcast.
Yeah. Yeah. We went through our list last episode. There's a
Yep.
bunch of them.
Oh, I forgot all about it. Shoot, that was this podcast. Ah, blasted. I knew it sounded familiar. Damn it.
Well,
Can you edit that out? Now I sound like an idiot.
well, one thing I wanted to tell you about, and I still haven't figured it out, and I want to find out exactly what it is. So my iPods and my Apple Watch and Adobe or Audible, if I go outside and get away from my wireless network and get away from my phone. If I can get my
Mhm.
watch away from there and I'm on a
Yep.
cellular signal and I start Audible, it'll
Yes.
download and my AirPods won't bounce either. So they won't if I'm near my phone is constantly wants the AirPods, even though that I've told it, don't grab it unless I say so. But it wants
Hmm.
it gets near and it wants them. It wants to at least communicate to them. And whenever that communication
Hmm.
occurs, then my watch will buffer for like 15 seconds and then it stops because it has
Hmm.
detected some sort of sync that wants to happen there. And you
Hmm.
start it over again and you get 15 seconds. And you start it over again, you get the same 15 seconds. So if I get outside, if I get on the road, if I have my AirPods and I start my watch on cellular, then I can listen to Audible.
Yep. And that's the weirdest thing. I'm not thrilled with the Audible app for the watch.
Yeah, for the watch.
I have it. Yeah, the watch app, it leaves a little to be desired. For me, big thing I noticed when I was listening to it, like I had the watch and I had the phone and they weren't synchronizing. So,
Well,
I would be like half a chapter in on my phone and I would stop. And then, like a couple hours later, I'm like, oh, I've got it on Audible. Okay, just play. And it starts at the beginning of the previous chapter.
yeah. Well, so if you can finagle it where you get the download is completed on the watch. And I don't know, I
Hmm.
haven't figured out why it stops downloading or how to keep it downloading. I've tried to keep it open and like just keep touching the app
Yep.
to keep it open, keep it
Yep.
downloading.
Yep.
If you can get it fully downloaded, then it does sync well between the devices.
Hmm.
And it seems to
Yep.
sync really well from if you go to the phone, it picks up whatever the watch got every time. I
Okay.
mean, practically every time. But when I go from, I've been listening to it on the phone and I go to it on the watch, it doesn't always pick up where I was, but it always goes the other way fine. And of course, my phone app
Yep.
always works. I mean, not, it's not 100% bulletproof, but it's like 99%. It just always works.
Yep. Yep. Well, there you go. So it's not all doom and gloom. The Audible Watch sometimes works. So on that note, we need to wrap things up. I do have
Yep.
to jump to another call. So, dear listener, if you want to find us, congratulations. You already have, but I'm going to tell you again how to. You can find us at blurringthelinespodcast.com. You can find Adam on the Twitters at sublimecomp.com. And you can find me at Nikolaidis.com. I'm also at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange, which still makes me laugh. And on that note, Adam, I say it is time that we push the big, the red, the button.
The button.